One way to advance in your strength, hip mobility, and core stability for the posterior chain is to go from doing the movements on 2 legs to advancing to single leg movements. So today I want to show you 5 single leg movements that I like to do, and I'm going to progress from slightly more basic to more advanced movements. Starting with number 1, the single leg glute bridge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a double leg hip bridge. I'm going to lift my right leg, trying to keep those hips stable and not twist or lean as I'm balancing on one leg. And I'm just going to go up and down. I feel it mostly my glute medius, my glutes, and my hamstrings. And once I do the desired repetition, I'm going to lower my leg, lower my hips, reset into a double leg glute bridge, lift the opposite leg up, and again, as soon as I lift the opposite leg up, I instantly feel the tension in the opposite hip, trunk region of my abs and lower back, as well as my hamstring. And then I do my desired number of repetitions. Before I advance into any single leg movement, I like to do the double leg movement first. So a double leg hip hinge, shoulder blades are back and down my spine. I want to make sure I start with good execution. My core is tight to support my lower back. And then the double leg hip hinge is slowly leaning forward. So single leg is just balancing on one leg. So I use my glute to lift my right leg behind me, keeping that core tight, starting straight up, shoulder blades back and down my spine, and I'm just going to lean over to what's comfortable, trying to get to about a 90-degree angle, depending on how tired my legs are for that day. But the reason I like the single leg is because I do have a leg length discrepancy and a strength and balance in my legs. So anytime I get a chance to do single leg movements, I do. And the hip hinge, or otherwise known as a deadlift, is one way to do that. I'm going to switch legs. I'm going to reset my position on both legs, shoulder blades back and down my spine. I'm going to use my glute to lift my left leg behind me, and then I'm going to hinge forward. And I'm going to feel most of the tension in my right leg, hamstrings, glutes, trunk region of my abdominal area, and my lower back. You can see I'm a little off balance, but I'm also on an area demonstrating where it's a little off camber. Moving on to number 3 is the split squat. So the split squat I demonstrated in another video. I'm just going to put one leg back, one leg forward, and I'm going to go up and down. This is also a lunge movement. You can also do this movement if you had a bench or a chair, where I'd be putting my left leg on a bench or a chair, and I'm just going up and down, keeping my shoulder blades above my hips and keeping that chest open and not leaning forward. Then I want to switch legs. I'm going to reset, step back with the other leg, and do the same thing, going up and down into the split squat position. Anytime you add weights, dumbbells, barbells, or bands, it's just advancing the strength that you're going to achieve in that movement. And when I'm doing body weight only exercises, I'm really focused more on repetitions and endurance and form and execution, and then I eventually move on to holding on to some weights. Moving on to the split squat. So I'm going to step back with one leg, lower to the ground, keeping my shoulder blades over my hips, my knee in line with my toe, and I'm just going to go up and down, focusing on pushing up with my right leg. I do feel the stretch in my hip flexor of my left leg, but I want to put the strength on my right leg, right glute, hamstring, and quad. Then when I switch legs, I'm going to reset, step back with the other leg, and just go up and down, same as I did with the opposite direction. When I advance in these moves, after I get comfortable with double leg, single leg, and then I start adding resistance, barbells, dumbbells, bands, any weighted object to increase the strength part of the movement. But when I'm starting, I'm working on form, execution, and endurance, so I do a little bit more repetitions because I'm doing body weight only movements. Now a single leg squat also known as a pistol squat, I like to do on a bench. This bench is a little bit low. If I had known that ahead of time, I would have brought something to get my legs up a little bit higher. So I'm going to use the assistance of the bench. But what I want to do is lift one leg up, my left leg, and then I'm going to force my right leg to lift my body up with a little bit of assistance of my hands, and I'm going to feel this primarily in my glutes and my hamstrings. And then as I lower, the idea is just to touch my butt to the bench and not fully sit down, but like I said, it's a little bit too low for me to do that, and then I go up. So when I switch legs, the idea is to go about a 90-degree angle. So if I had a higher bench and then stand up, and if you notice, I can feel it, is on my left leg, it was very good up and down movement. My right leg, I could feel my right knee go in. So I want to make sure I address the issues and stabilize and work on strength in the outer and inner portions of my legs, so I don't have that inner knee movement like I do now. Most likely it's due to my right weak glute medius is causing that movement in my right leg, and you don't necessarily see it with my left leg. So those are the basic demonstration of a single leg squat. I primarily do these in the weight room or with the assistance of my TRX bands, where I'm holding on to them and I'm doing the single leg squats that way. Dave has a great video of him demonstrating single leg squats with the use of a TRX. Okay, the fifth and final single leg movement that I like to do is just balancing on one leg. And then to get a little bit more advanced, you want to close your eyes, and it just creates a little bit of that added stability. I can feel myself moving around. So first I'm just going to start with balancing on one leg. If I had a Bosu ball or any other like disc object that I could stand on, that's just going to provide more mobility in my ankle, more strength in my ankle and calf. And then I could also add movements like an adduction, where I'm on my single leg and I'm doing adduction movements, working on balance. Then I'm going to reset, stand on both legs again. Anytime I transition to one leg to the next, I like to reset on both legs. Here I feel a little bit more balanced in my ankle. As soon as I close my eyes, I feel a little bit off balance, but that's the goal, is to work on that balance, and then I can do some adduction with the other leg to balance it out. So there you have it, 5 of my favorite single leg exercises that don't require any equipment except the use of a bench. I'd love to hear what your favorite single leg exercises that you do in your strength and mobility program. Comment below or join the chatter in our T2 Endurance Facebook group, and I hope you make it a great day.